The year 1972. The world witnessed a series of significant and transformative events across various spheres. The year was marked by the tragic Munich massacre, where 11 Israeli athletes were taken hostage and killed by the Palestinian terrorist group Black September during the Summer Olympics, bringing international terrorism into sharp focus. In the United States, political turmoil intensified with the shooting of Alabama Governor George Wallace, a pro-segregation presidential candidate who was paralyzed in an assassination attempt that ended his campaign. In the entertainment world, HBO made its debut as the first premium cable TV network, pioneering a new era in television. CBS premiered the iconic show MASH, which would go on to become a critical and popular success. Atari released Pong, one of the first commercially successful video games, laying the groundwork for the burgeoning video game industry. The film industry saw the release of two landmark films, The Godfather, which had become an instant classic with its portrayal of organized crime, and Cabaret, which captivated audiences with its depiction of 1930s Berlin. Meanwhile, the music scene was electrified by the glam rock revolution, with artists like David Bowie, The Sweet, Slade, and T-Rex leading the charge with their flamboyant fashion, androgynous looks, and theatrical performances. So travel back in time with me as we revisit the year 1972, the year in rock. America's self-titled debut album marked the arrival of one of the most influential folk rock bands of the 70s. The album showcased the trio's signature harmonies and acoustic-driven sound, blending elements of rock, folk, and pop into a cohesive and refreshing musical experience. Featuring the iconic track A Horse with No Name, the album quickly propelled America to international fame, with the song reaching number 1 on the Billboard Hot 100. It was initially felt that A Horse with No Name was good, but perhaps a little too quirky. At first, it felt like a bit of a novelty song. It was a shock that it became so popular. Dewey Bunnell, America. Other standout tracks like I Need You and Sandman further demonstrated the band's talent for crafting introspective lyrics and memorable melodies. The success of this debut laid the foundation for America's enduring career and established them as a major force in the soft rock genre. This album's blend of warm acoustic arrangements and evocative storytelling remains a touchstone in the evolution of 70s music. Steely Dan's Can't Buy a Thrill is a landmark debut album that introduced the world to the band's unique blend of jazz, rock, and sophisticated pop. With the sharp songwriting of Walter Becker and Donald Fagen at its core, the album features a collection of meticulously crafted songs that are as lyrically clever as they are musically interesting. Walter Becker, co-writer of the album and guitarist and bassist of Steely Dan, said, "We knew we had some jazz influences, but we didn't want to be a jazz band. We liked the idea of twisting rock and pop into something different, something that was more about musicianship and lyrics, but still accessible." Tracks like Do It Again and Reelin' in the Years became instant classics, showcasing the duo's knack for catchy hooks, intricate arrangements, and wry, often enigmatic lyrics. The album's polished production and seamless fusion of different musical styles set Steely Dan apart from their contemporaries, making Can't Buy a Thrill a critical and commercial success, something you don't always have. It laid the groundwork for Steely Dan's reputation as one of the most innovative and influential bands of the 1970s, with a sound that remains timeless. David Bowie's The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars is an absolutely defining album that solidified Bowie's status as a music and a cultural icon. The album presents the story of Ziggy Stardust, a fictional androgynous rock star who serves as a messenger for extraterrestrial beings. Sounds like a hit. Through this concept, Bowie explored themes of fame, identity, and alienation, all while blurring the lines between persona and performer. That was not done, ever, at the time. Musically, this album is a brilliant fusion of glam rock with its infectious guitar riffs and theatrical flair, showcased in tracks like Starman and Suffragette City. He had the prescience of a shaman when creating this album, talking about rock stars as alien beings and all of the trappings that can happen to them. David Bowie described the rise and fall of Ziggy Stardust and the Spiders from Mars as a concept album about an alien rock star who looks and acts like a messiah. He said, "Ziggy was my Martian messiah who came to save the Earth, but got destroyed in the process because of the people around him. It was about being too big for your own good. A bit like a rock star." Bowie's ability to create a compelling narrative, combined with his innovative approach to his music and his style, made Ziggy Stardust a groundbreaking work that literally would go on to influence countless artists and help shape the direction of rock music in the 1970s. The album remains a landmark in Bowie's career, and not to mention a touchstone in the history of popular music. Neil Young's Harvest is one of his most acclaimed and commercially successful albums, encapsulating the raw emotion and rustic charm that define his music. This album blends country, folk, and rock, creating a mellow, introspective sound that resonated deeply with listeners. Featuring classics like Heart of Gold and Old Man, Harvest showcases Young's ability to write poignant, personal songs that speak to universal themes of love, loss, and reflection. The story behind the album is legendary. Neil Young, fresh off of his third album, After the Gold Rush, ran into Elliot Mazer. Now, Mazer suggested that Neil record some songs at his two-story Victorian home studio, Quadraphonic Sound. They needed studio musicians, so they hired three guys, pedal steel player Ben Keith, bassist Tim Drummond, and drummer Kenny Buttrey, who would become integral to Young's sound moving forward. Also, James Taylor, David Crosby, Linda Ronstadt, Stephen Stills, and many others joined in the effort to bring this album to fruition. What you ended up with is a masterpiece in songwriting and a journey with friends in tow. The album's stripped-down arrangements and intimate lyrics helped it reach a wide audience, with Heart of Gold becoming Young's only #1 hit on the Billboard Hot 100. Harvest remains a cornerstone of Neil Young's discography, reflecting the timeless appeal of his honest, soulful songwriting. The Rolling Stones' Exile on Main Street is often hailed as one of the greatest rock albums of all time. Recorded in a chaotic, drug-fueled environment at a villa in the south of France, the double album captures the raw, unpolished energy that defines the Stones at their best. We didn't start off intending to make a double album. We just went down to the south of France to make an album, and by the time we'd finished, we'd said, we want to put it all out. Keith Richards, guitarist, The Rolling Stones. He would continue in saying, the point is that the Stones had reached a point where we had no longer had to do what we were told to do. Around the time Andrew Oldham left us, we'd done our time. Things were changing, and I was no longer interested in hitting #1 in the charts every time. What I want to do is good shit. If it's good, they'll get it sometime down the road. Exile on Main Street is a sprawling, eclectic mix of rock, blues, country, and gospel, reflecting the band's deep roots in American music. Songs like Tumbling Dice, Happy, and Rocks Off exemplify the gritty, soulful sound that permeates the album. Now, despite its initially mixed reviews, the album has since been recognized as a masterpiece, celebrated for its authenticity and the way it encapsulates the rebellious spirit of the Rolling Stones. Exile on Main Street stands as a testament to the band's ability to channel chaos into something truly, truly legendary. Mott the Hoople's All the Young Dudes is the album that revitalized the band's career and cemented their place in rock history. After struggling to find commercial success, the band was on the verge of disbanding when David Bowie, a fan of the group, stepped in to produce the album and offered them the title track All the Young Dudes, written by Bowie. It became an anthem for the glam rock movement and a massive hit, its anthemic chorus and defiant lyrics capturing the spirit of the era. Ian Hunter, the singer for Mott the Hoople, said in an interview about the title track, "God knows why he gave it to us. I've said that many times, but really, if I'd had that song, I wouldn't have given it to anybody." David Bowie essentially saved the band, and all of their braggadocio got carried over into subsequent albums. The album as a whole blends glam rock, hard rock, and a touch of the band's earlier blues influences, creating a dynamic and influential record. All the Young Dudes not only marked a turning point for Mott the Hoople, but also became a defining moment in the glam rock genre, showcasing their newfound confidence and Bowie's always visionary influence. Big Star's #1 record is a seminal album that, despite its initial commercial underperformance, became one of the most influential records in the power pop genre. The album, featuring the songwriting talents of Alex Chilton and Chris Bell, is a masterful blend of jangly guitars, melodic hooks, and heartfelt lyrics. Tracks like 13 and In the Street showcase the band's knack for crafting songs that are deeply personal and universally relatable. #1 record captures the essence of youthful optimism and melancholy, all wrapped in pristine, guitar-driven pop. The pairing of Alex Chilton and Chris Bell was absolutely electric, and their influence can be felt far and wide, with Paul Westerberg saying that #1 record was entirely influential in creating the Replacements. Likewise, Michael Stipe and REM sang their praises. Though it didn't achieve commercial success at the time, the album's legacy has only grown over the years, inspiring the Replacements, inspiring Superdrag, and earning Big Star a well-deserved place in the pantheon of great rock bands. Alice Cooper's School's Out is an amazing record that solidified the band's reputation as the pioneers of shock rock. The album's title track, School's Out, became an anthem for rebellious youth, with its explosive energy and defiant lyrics capturing the exhilaration of breaking free from the constraints of school. Speaking on the title track, Alice Cooper himself said, "I think the prototype for School's Out is My Generation, a song that speaks to every generation. I just took it and said, is it possible to capture the last 3 minutes of the last day of school before summer vacation? There's no other moment as joyous as that, except for maybe Christmas morning. I said if we could just capture the energy of that, now that would be a hit." The album blends hard rock with theatrical elements, reflecting Alice Cooper's flair for the dramatic and their ability to craft songs that are both catchy and subversive. School's Out is notable not just for its music, but also for the innovative packaging that came with the album. It included a fold-out sleeve designed to look like a school desk. The album's success marked a peak in Alice Cooper's career, showcasing their ability to combine rock and roll with a sense of spectacle that would influence generations of musicians and performers. And you gotta say that Marilyn Manson took a cue from Alice Cooper. Deep Purple's Machine Head is a quintessential hard rock album that helped define the genre and solidify the band's place as rock legends. Featuring the iconic track Smoke on the Water with its unforgettable riff, this album is packed with powerful songs that showcase Deep Purple's musicianship and energy. Tracks like Highway Star and Space Truckin' highlight the band's ability to blend heavy guitar riffs, dynamic vocals, and intricate keyboard work into a cohesive and electrifying sound. Roger Glover, the bassist for Deep Purple, reminisces on the album's creation. Highway Star is the opening track on the album. Ritchie is the driving force behind this. He plays with such precision, that driving machine gun effect. I came up with the title in a couple of lines. Most of the song is Gillan's, and everyone else just joined in on the arrangement. The thing that really impressed me when I first heard it again after so many years was that Pacey, Ian Pace, is swinging, and we are all playing straight, and that is the essence of rock and roll. Machine Head is not just one of Deep Purple's most successful albums, but also a cornerstone in the history of rock music, influencing countless numbers of bands with its raw power and technical prowess. The album's impact is still felt today as it continues to be celebrated as one of the greatest rock albums of all time. The Allman Brothers Band Eat a Peach is a landmark album that stands as both a tribute and a testament to the band's resilience. The album was completed in the wake of the tragic death of their leader and guitarist, Duane Allman, who was killed in a motorcycle accident during its recording. Eat a Peach is a mix of studio tracks and live recordings that capture the band's unique blend of southern rock, blues, and jazz. The album features some of their most iconic songs, including an epic mountain jam, the soulful Melissa, and the fiery One Way Out. Eat a Peach showcases the band's virtuosity and emotional depth, serving as a fitting tribute to Duane Allman's legacy, while also marking a pivotal moment in the Allman Brothers' journey. The living members sat around and listened to all the unreleased tracks from Fillmore East, and they settled on the aforementioned One Way Out, Trouble No More, and the absolutely killer Mountain Jam. As told by Butch Trucks, the aforementioned song, Mountain Jam, was the apex of who we were as a band. The only problem was there was only one decent recording of it good enough to put out, but it was also one of the worst we ever played. We said we'd have to just put it out because Duane was on it, but had Duane not died, Eat a Peach would have been just a single album. The album remains a cornerstone of Southern rock, celebrated for its musical brilliance and enduring spirit. T-Rex's The Slider is the defining album of the glam rock era, showcasing Mark Bolan's flair for combining catchy melodies with a sense of style and mystique. Building on the success of their previous album, Electric Warrior, The Slider features hits like Telegram Sam and Metal Guru, both of which exemplify Bolan's talent for writing infectious guitar-driven pop songs with a touch of whimsy. The album is a celebration of glam rock's theatricality, with Bolan's charismatic vocals and distinctive sound creating an atmosphere of exuberance and fantasy. Mr. Bolan has a certain fey charm that in the end defies analysis. The New York Times. The Slider solidified T-Rex's status as glam rock icons and remains a beloved classic. influencing the style and sounds of many, many artists that followed. The album is a testament to Bolan's unique ability to blend rock and roll with a sense of playful extravagance. Lou Reed's Transformer is an epic album that solidified his solo career and became an essential piece of the glam rock movement. Do you see a trend here, folks? Produced by David Bowie and Mick Ronson, the album features some of Lou Reed's most iconic songs, including Walk on the Wild Side, Perfect Day, and Satellite of Love. Transformer showcases Reed's knack for storytelling with lyrics that explore the lives of New York's misfits and outsiders with both empathy and edge. One reviewer, Nick Kent from the NME, commented on the album, "Any song that mentions oral sex, male prostitution, methadone, and Valium and still gets Radio 1 airplay must be truly cool." Musically, the album blends Reed's gritty rock sensibilities with glam-inspired production, creating a sound that's both raw and polished. Transformer not only captured the spirit of its time, but it also yet once again influenced a wide range of artists with its bold, innovative approach to rock music. The album remains one of Reed's most celebrated works, embodying his ability to push boundaries and challenge conventions. The Eagles' self-titled debut album introduced the world to the band's signature blend of rock, country, and folk, establishing them as pioneers of the Southern California sound. The album features the hit singles Take It Easy, Witchy Woman, and Peaceful Easy Feeling, each showcasing the band's impeccable harmonies, smooth melodies, and laid-back vibe. Now, this album was produced by Glenn Johns, and the record highlights the band's musical versatility and strong songwriting, with contributions from all four members, Glenn Frey, Don Henley, Bernie Leadon, and Randy Meisner. Don Henley told Rolling Stone magazine in 2016, "We had four singers, and though we weren't the first band to feature a lineup like that, we wanted to make use of it in unique ways. Our main goal at the beginning and throughout our career was to write good, memorable songs, make albums that had little or no filler, that we were consistent from beginning to end in terms of songwriting and production. We also wanted a good live act. We wanted to be the whole package. We didn't always meet our goals, but we tried." The Eagles' debut album laid the foundation for their future success, blending rock and country influences in a way that resonated with a wide audience, and most importantly, setting the stage for them to become one of the most successful bands of the 70s. Elton John's Honky Château, released in 1972, marked a turning point in his career, solidifying his status as a global superstar. Recorded at the Château de Hérouville in France, the album blends rock, pop, and soul influences, showcasing John's growing confidence as a songwriter and performer. Honky Château features some of Elton John's most beloved tracks, including the hits Rocket Man and Honky Cat, both of which highlight his ability to craft memorable melodies paired with Bernie Taupin's evocative lyrics. The producer, Gus Dudgeon, of the album said, "By the time we got into Château, he was writing the whole album in 5 days. Then we'd probably rehearse it for about 4 days, and then we would record it. So it was as fresh as a daisy, and it sounds that way as a result." The album's sound is characterized by its lively energy and a more stripped-down, band-oriented approach compared to his previous works. Honky Château became Elton John's first album to reach #1 on the Billboard 200 chart, marking the beginning of a remarkable string of commercial successes and cementing his place as one of the defining artists of the 1970s. Uriah Heep's Demons and Wizards is a cornerstone of early 1970s hard rock and basically the defining album for the band. Known for its fantasy-themed lyrics and epic sound, the album blends heavy rock with progressive and symphonic elements, creating a rich, immersive listening experience. Tracks like The Wizard and Easy Livin' highlight the band's powerful combination of soaring vocals, intricate guitar work, and dynamic keyboards. Demons and Wizards is often praised for its cohesive production and the way it seamlessly balances heaviness with melody. The album was a commercial success and significantly boosted Uriah Heep's popularity, cementing their status as one of the leading bands in hard rock in the early metal scenes of the era. The only surviving member, Mick Box, guitarist, looks back at the album. Demons and Wizards means a lot to me. We were as a unit, creatively. It was the band at its height with that lineup. Listening back to that album through the speakers at Lansdowne back in 1972, we felt like we had something special, but that was just within our inner circle. After that, you just hope that it might take on a life of its own and become successful, which to our immense gratitude, it did. The album's influence is still recognized today, particularly in the realms of fantasy rock and metal. Nightwish, anyone? Edgar Winter's They Only Come Out at Night is a genre-defying album that blends rock, blues, and pop with a touch of the previously mentioned several times in this video, glam. The album is best known for its hit singles Frankenstein and Free Ride, both of which showcase Winter's versatility as a musician and his innovative approach to composition. Frankenstein is an instrumental track, became a massive hit, characterized by its iconic synthesizer riff and complex progressive structure. Now, meanwhile, on the other side of things, Free Ride offers a more straightforward, feel-good rock anthem. Edgar Winter himself opined, "Given my intention to make an album with mass appeal, I determined to assemble the quintessential all-American rock band. I wanted to find members who were not only great musicians, but who could write, sing, and play. I knew image would be so important, I had to have guys with the right look, stage presence, and charisma who could contribute to the overall direction of the band. They didn't have to already be stars, but they had to have star quality and potential. In short, a real super band." They Only Come Out at Night was a commercial success, reaching the top of the charts, and it remains a standout record in Edgar Winter's career. The album, it's celebrated for its eclectic mix of styles, an inventive use of technology, and the way it captures the creative energy of early 1970s rock. The Doobie Brothers' Toulouse Street is the album that marked the band's breakthrough, establishing their signature blend of rock, soul, and southern-influenced rhythms. With hits like Listen to the Music and Jesus is Just Alright, the album showcases the Doobies' tight harmonies, infectious grooves, and versatile musicianship. It is also notable for its mix of acoustic and electric elements, creating a sound that's both laid back and, on the other side, full of energy. Patrick Simmons, guitarist and singer, talks about how the album got its start. "We were all old friends and we just got high in the studio," he admitted. "We hadn't planned on making an album at all, but the demos came out so good that we decided to send them into Warner Brothers, and they liked them." The album's success propelled the Doobie Brothers into the spotlight, setting the stage for their continued rise in the 1970s. Toulouse Street remains a classic, capturing the band's ability to create music that is both commercially appealing and musically rich. And there you have it, folks. The year in rock, 1972. I think so far this is my favorite year in the genre. But what did I miss? Leave that below in the comments. And as always, folks, don't forget to rock like there's no tomorrow.